Welcome to this week's reading of Beautiful Unique Faces by me, Anita East. Justine continued. Justine thought her marriage was showing signs of strain. She and her husband weren't communicating well anymore, and as a result, she was feeling isolated and even more unhappy. Over the next 12 months, Justine had increasingly extensive treatments on her face. After every treatment, she felt really good. It was almost like I feel like I've had an injection of happy juice or something. I just feel happy for the first few days. It's so lovely. It's addictive, Justine said. She continued. I'd examine each feature on my face and to see what looked imperfect. Then at my appointment, I'd tell the injector what I wanted to be done. By isolating each feature of her face, Justine could keep track of what she felt she needed fixed. It gave her a sense of control she was missing in other areas of her life. Justine had her lips plumped, her cheeks filled, her chin filled, and her jaw sharpened. She had her frown and forehead lines erased, and her crow's feet all but removed. Justine's unique facial feature were her unusual-looking, wide-set, hazel-coloured eyes. With each treatment she had, though, her eyes lost focus and her lips, jaw, or cheeks took centre stage. Justine told me that during this period, her relationship with her children and her husband became very strained. Her husband even told her he didn't know who she was anymore. He accused her of not caring about them and yelled, "You don't even look like you. I mean, who the hell are you anyway?" Justine felt that she was growing more distant from them, and regardless of how hard she tried to show them how much she loved them and cared for them, they didn't believe her. Her husband moved out, and their children split their time between her and him. It was devastating to both Justine and her husband. They'd always valued their marriage and the stability of their family for their children. Over the next 12 months, as the full force of their marriage separation took hold, Justine reduced the frequency and quantity of her treatments. I caught up with Justine at this time, 2 years after I'd last treated her. I almost didn't recognize her. She looked vulnerable, and I know this sounds strange, but she looked real. In complete contrast to how I felt when I first met Justine, my heart immediately warmed to her. Justine was seeing a psychologist for her postnatal depression, and she and her husband were having counselling to heal their marriage. They were communicating better than they'd done for a long time. "I think it's going to be okay," she told me. She smiled, and in that instant, her unusual eyes crinkled up softly, and she looked genuinely hopeful and happy. We decided on a subtle treatment, half the doses she'd been having in the years before. We established a plan to make her beautiful, unique eyes the lead actor of her face and only treat the parts of her face that allowed her eyes to express their warmth and vulnerability fully. Vulnerability nurtures joy, growth, and love, and Justine had lacked this in her life for quite some time. We're most beautiful when we're most human. Sadly, this case study has an unhappy ending, which I won't share. The message I want Justine's story to teach you, dear reader, is that you are most beautiful when you are most human. We can't use Botox or dermal fillers, just as we can't use alcohol, drugs, food, or exercise to treat a heart and mind that needs healing. Yes, we can use Botox or dermal fillers as a healthy accompaniment to our life to improve how we feel about ourselves and the way we look. Yet give it any more responsibility than that, and you're headed for a terrible shock, just like dear Justine. Have a wonderful week ahead, and I'll see you next week.